Actually, no. The stories were not originally written with a collection in mind. They were all written with those associated pains of giving birth to fictional characters and the worlds they inhabit. Wasn't conscious at the time that I was writing them that they were circling around a common theme. Then I started to see a commonality in them. And really the connecting thread in all the stories is that struggle to find our way back home after those unexpected storms of life. Yes, many of the stories are actually based on or inspired by real-life people or events or circumstances. The story Scars of Humanity uses two real-life events or circumstances: the Space Shuttle Columbia explosion, that big disaster, and the second one later that same year was the Great Ontario Blackout. The lead character in that story, Laurel Hyatt Thorne, happens to share a name and a birth date with Laurel Sultan Blair Clark, who was one of the astronauts on the Space Shuttle Columbia who was killed in the explosion. The second example I would give is from the story The Blank Deed, going back to the mid 2006-2007 time, bank financial crisis of that era. And the other one was the native occupation of Douglas Creek Estates near Caledonia, Ontario. I think one of the things that distinguishes my stories as literary fiction is the use of language. I refer to myself as the metaphor guy, kind of my personal brand, because I weave metaphors through all the stories that I write. For example, in the title story, Hunting Muskie, Norman's battle to land a trophy-sized muskie is a metaphor for his battle with a life-threatening disease. Another example I would give is in the story Winter Solstice. That story obviously takes place on the day of winter solstice, and that day, of course, is the shortest day of the year. There are more lunar hours than any other day of the year, so it is theoretically at least a day when people are inclined to make bad decisions and may be affected by the moon. So the lead character in that story, Nadine McDavid, she's at home that day. She's sort of pondering that whole idea of the moon and its effects as she's wrestling with some suspicions and doubts she has about her husband Andrew, who may have done something unfortunate and covered it up. And a favorite character of mine in the collection is definitely the character of Huck Fryman. He's the protagonist in the story Incorrigible. He's based on a real-life person that I encountered a number of years back, a very eccentric person that I was immediately driven to explore what experiences may have led him to be the eccentric that he became. And so that exploration really turned into a very fascinating and ultimately tragic character. Huck is one of those people who is unapologetic about refusing to conform to society's expectations. He goes his own way and damn the consequences. I think the main message in all my stories is that it's the nature of life to test us and take us down roads that we'd probably rather not go down. So as the subtitle of the story conveys, that battle to get through those tough times really becomes a rite of passage, and that rite of passage makes us wiser and stronger and ultimately better equipped to deal with life. My hope is that people see a bit of themselves in the stories and in the characters as they read them, and maybe find some encouragement for their life in that experience.